Okay, reading from the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Volume 1, Chapter 1, Text 8. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jayati, Text 7, excuse me. Govardhana jayati śaila-kulādhirājo. Yo gopikābhir udito hari-dāsa-varyaḥ. Kṛṣṇena śakra-makha-bhaṅga-kṛtārcito ya. Saptāham asya kara-padma-tale avātsīt. All glories to Govardhana, the emperor of lordly mountains. The Lord's dear devotees called him the best servant of Hari, Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna disrupted the sacrifice or the worship of Indra to worship Govardhana instead, and then the hill resided for a week on the Lord's lotus palm. Om Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Taksur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vansha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So greetings from Navanalachala Ashram in Brick, New Jersey. We're studying this Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, and not going to go back too far, but Sanatana Goswami has a mission. And it's a mission to explain something that is so exalted, naparayeham, that Krishna can't even reciprocate it. And that's the love of the gopis, which is parama tasha antim, the supreme, extreme end of devotion. So it's quite a task, and therefore he's going to begin with prayers. And the process of prayers invokes mercy and gives you the qualification, or it gives you the capacity to accept mercy. When you think you're great, there's nothing that's mercy, because there's nothing good enough for you. So unless you're humble, you won't experience the mercy of God. And without experiencing the mercy of God, you'll have no devotion. Because devotion is born of humility. Without appreciation, without humility, there's no appreciation. And appreciation is the first step. Prabhupada said we advance by appreciation. Adau Shraddha. It begins by appreciation. And you certainly won't appreciate love if your goal is power. So he prays. He prays to Sri Radha. He prays to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He prays to Mathura Devi. He prays to Vrindavan, glorifying them with some hope of getting some mercy to explain something that you can't figure out on your own. It has to be given to you. The nature of God is not a product of analysis, it's a product of God's will. So it can only be given by God's will. So, and then after he prays to Mathura, Brajamandal, Mathura Devi Shrestham, the best of holy places. Within the best of holy places, there's three best spots. So he first prays to Vrindavan. Then he prays to Jamuna. And now he's praying to Govardhana, which he describes as śaila-kulādhirājo. The Adi-Raja, the emperor, Kula, Śaila of mountains, the emperor of Kulādhirājo, the emperor of aristocratic mountains. And that's confirmed by your gopikābhir, udito, hari-dāsa-varyaḥ. Because even the Lord's dear gopīs, who are the standard of sacrifice and devotion, say, of all places, hari-dāsa-varyaḥ, who's the varya, the excellent hari-das of all the servants of Lord Hari is Govardhan Hill, because he gives his whole body to Krishna with love and with emotion. That's the best service. The best service is the activity that I described this before, which serves as a receptacle for love. And Krishna stopped the sacrifice to Indra, the Lord, for Govardhana. What does that say? And then there was the beautiful pastime. Nijapati Bhuja Dandat Chatra Bhavam Papadya Pratihatamara Dristan Dandadevendra Garba Atula Patula Shaila Shreni Bhupapiyame Nijanigatani Vasam. Destroyed the pride of Indra and lifted the mountain. And it's such a wonderful Leela or pastime. I'll just share with you an interesting Prabhupada Govardhan pastime. Of course, one of the most amazing things was Prabhupada at the end of his life. I think I was there in the room where he said, I want to go to Govardhan by bullock cart. And the Ayurvedic doctor basically stopped it because he said it would be suicide for Prabhupada. Prabhupada revealed his heart, and it's the heart of all the Vaishnavas. Nija nigatani vasam dehi Govardhan tvam. Nija nigatani vasam, to reside in Govardhan Hill, where the Lord's most intimate pastimes happen. So why should it not have been Prabhupada's last desire? So beautiful. And I remember I was in Vrindavan and there was an economic problem. You know, I'm just thinking how much more money there is now. There was an economic crisis, and the temple president wasn't going to make a feast on Govardhana Hill. It was just going to make 2 preparations. And Prabhupada interceded and said he wanted every preparation in Krishna book cooked. And he sent his own personal cook, I believe it was Palika, down to the kitchen to cook. And he sent Pradyumna, his Sanskrit Pandit, with Pradyumna, with a 10th canto to read what are the different preparations that should be made. I took that feast. I still remember the quality of those glubjubins. I can't enjoy a glubjubin now or a rajbhog, those big. It's just too much sugar. But when I was young, wow. So now he goes on to glorify something else. After glorifying those who give devotion, now he's going to glorify devotion itself. And devotion basically means prema. Prema, of course, is the highest form of devotion, but but that form is what devotion is. And it's this energy between 2 beings in relationship that are focused on the other person's desires and not themselves. That's what prema is. That's why in bhakti, it's good to have good relationships in general as your samskara, as your impression to enter into bhakti. To be able to identify what that is, but it's a relationship to God. Just focused on God's desire out of attraction and the wanting to serve. So, jayati, jayati, Krishna prema bhaktir yarangring. Nikila nigama tattvam gudham agyaya mukti bhajati shravana kama vaishnavais chajyamana japa yajna tapasya nyasa nishtam vivaya. So jayati jayati Krishna prema bhakti, to prema yad angrim, whose feet, knowing that the feet of prema bhakti, Nikala, complete, nigama tattvam guya, complete all the truths, the confidential truth, tattvam gudham. So within bhakti is in all the other truths of the Vedas. Nigama kalpatura galitam phalam sukhamukhan amrita dravya shamyatam Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta rasamalayam. Nigama kalpatura, it's like a desire tree, the Vedas. Nigama galitam phalam sukhamukha, but the fruit Nigama kalpatura galitam phalam sukha mukha amrita dravya samyita bibita bhagava. The fruit. Vedaisya sarvaya aham eva vedyo vedanta vid vedavid. The fruit. The fruit is prema. What else, if there's God and his instructions on how to perfect life are manifest in the Vedas, what else could be the goal of life than happiness? And what else can be happiness but intense love? Universal love. Twasmin parama prema roop, the highest form of love. Twasmin, to him. What else can be the goal of the Vedas? And that's what Lord Brahma learned. He studied the Vedas 3 times until he understood that the essence of the Vedas is devotional service. So now, Premanjana Charita Bhakti Valochana. Now he wants the mercy of that energy of prema, because it's also an energy of God. So he wants that mercy too. Because without love, the absolute truth will never be revealed. And how can you explain something if you haven't had an experience of it? Sanatana Goswami is sitting here in Vrindavan, writing this, praying intensely, meditating on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to write on the Parama Dasha Antam, the extreme level of transcendence. And how can he write it if he doesn't realize it? If he doesn't have it? So he shows us, if you want prema, you have to beg for it. And the foundation of that kind of entreaty is in prayer itself. Jayati, jayati, Krishna, prema, bhaktir, nigama tattvam gudham, nigama tat, the secret of the truth of the Vedas. And very nicely it says here, at the feet of prema bhakti. So that when we mention the feet, just a partial touch of prema bhakti reveals the essence of the Vedas. Yasya deve para bhaktir tata deve tatagaro. Yasya deve para bhaktir tata deve tatagaro. One who has implicit faith in the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. The imports of the Vedas are revealed. And the import of the Vedas is to because liberation is the essence of the Vedas. But what is the real liberation? Muktir hidva yata rupam, it's giving up. Surupena vivastita, but it's being situated in your surup, your loving nature. That's the goal of the Vedas. That's the essence of the Vedas. So liberation with just the muktir hitva yatarupam, just giving up First of all, it's not successful because every spiritual process is dependent on worship because it needs mercy. If you look at the Yoga Sutras and see what it actually takes to actually achieve vairagya, detachment, yoga, concentration on the mind, samadhi, what it takes. It's not possible without mercy, and mercy requires to become that receptacle of mercy by worship. So you can't have another path without worship, without some type of ritual to conform yourself to something higher than yourself. So every other path depends on every other path depends on bhakti. And this bhakti is prema, the supreme. So here it is. It gives this thing that liberation is sharana, desires to take shelter, comes to worship. Liberation comes to worship her. The path of Gyan comes to worship prema. And then it says, interesting that the Vaishnavas abandon liberation. Na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kame, mama janmani janma ishvari bhavatad bhakti, ohoitaki twayi. They abandon, they don't care. Narayana prasarve, nakutas chanya bibyati, swaga pavaga, narakeshu, api tulyata darshanam. One who is Narayana Parayana, who has that love. Swaga pavaga narakeshu. It doesn't matter where one is. That's the goal. To have that love. So the Vaishnavas don't care of that type of liberation. They're not thinking, let me be free from suffering. They're looking, they're just thinking how Krishna can be pleased. We had that story of Narada Muni searching for the topmost devotee, and was it the dust of Krishna's? I don't know why I can't remember that story. 1 second. And I can't put this story together, but they don't care. I don't know, the end of the story, they don't care. I think that's getting the dust of their feet. The gopis would cure his headache, and that's such an offense. Krishna has a headache, yes. Krishna has a headache, and he can be cured by the devotees, the dust of the devotees' feet, and everyone is afraid because that's such an offense. To give your feet is the lowest part of the body, to give it to some like exalted personality. But the gopis didn't care, and they said, "Are you afraid to go to hell?" No, let me go to hell. I don't care. So liberation, Vaishnavas ignore liberation. That's not their concern. Their concern is the pleasure of Krishna. So liberation has no place to take shelter of. So it has to take shelter of serving, of serving devotion. It follows devotion. One second. And it abandoned giving its results because it can't ultimately achieve full liberation. Full liberation, real liberation, is the complete selflessness of love in the heart. So it said abandoned here japa, yagya, tapasya, and yas. Japa, the duty of the brahmacharis. Yagya, or sacrifice, the duty of the grihastas. Tapasya, austerities, the duties of the vanaprasthas. And yasa, renunciation. It's given up. It doesn't just give liberation for that. So where is mukti going to be useful? Only in the service of prema. Only in the service of prema. So it's good. Let me read the verse again and just all glories to Sri Krishna Prema Bhakti, knowing that the feet of Prema Bhakti secretly comprise all the truths of the Vedas. Liberation herself has come to worship her. Indeed, liberation, abandoned by the Vaishnavas, has now given up her dependence on mantras, penance, sacrifice, renunciation, and is eager to have the shelter of Prema Bhakti. I'll read from the purport. I need more clarification. Why then does liberation worship the feet of devotional service? Because she hankers for Bhakti's shelter. Rejected by the Vaishnavas and having nowhere else to go, she is anxious for refuge, fearful she might perish. To those who have made even a casual attempt to surrender to Krishna, liberation readily offers herself. But to the foolish materialists who strive to achieve liberation, she shows no favor. She will not even turn her glance towards them. Thus, their chanting, sacrifices, austerities, or renunciation are useless for gaining her. Persons who strive for liberation by these means alone, neglecting devotional service, are most unfortunate, for they have failed to understand the essential truth of the Vedic literature. So I guess that's it. It's meant for devotion. It's meant for devotion. And if you're taking to another path to achieve perfection, you won't find it there, because it's not perfection just to negate this world or negate one's identity or merge into the absolute truth. Yenye ravindaksha vamukta maniyas tvayasta bhavara vashuddha buddhya aruya katrena param padam. Yenye ravindaksha vamukti maninas. If you don't take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, Yenye ravindaksha vamukta maninas. Vamukta, your liberation, mani, it's just in the mind. Yenye ravindaksha, the lotus-eyed Lord. Ye ravindaksha vamukta tvasta avashuddha buddhya. Your intelligence is not pure. You don't have the right conception. The whole world is moving towards liberation, but what is liberation? Jivera sarupahoy, Kṛṣṇena nitya das. That's liberation. That's liberation. Prabhupada said the perfectional state of the living entity is called a devotee. That's the perfectional state. Liberation is just meant to assist that. Because for the focus of Krishna, you have to loosen your attraction to the material world. That's why in devotional service, especially you're in Vrindavan, you worship Madan Mohan, because Madan means Cupid and Mohan means bewilder. So you have to bewilder Cupid. If Krishna can bewilder Cupid, so we need mercy so that we can become detached from Cupid, so we can control our senses. But that's not a process in itself. So liberation, jnana, Tehenosmin yata dehe komaran yovanam jara tatade hantara praptir dirasna. That type of understanding, you're not the body. That kind of jnanic thing. It's not the goal in itself, but can help you. Because if you detach yourself from the world, you can that's why the wise man is the most dear to Krishna, because he can come without any other demands on the body. So if you want to use your jnana and your vairagya, and that's the service of it. But to get liberation independently by serving japa and yagya and tapasya and nyasa, renunciation, no, liberation abandons that. And the Vaishnava is abandoned liberation. So liberation may perish. Mukti may perish. What's its purpose? Its purpose is to go to Prem Bhakti and surrender. And if you need me, I will use you. If you need the process of Gyan, you can use me. For the first part, Muktir Hitvaya Ta Rupam, giving up the false identity. So this is Prema Bhakti. And this is what Sanatan wants. It's so exalted. It's above liberation. This is what he wants. He wants Sarupena Vivasti. He wants to be fully situated in love for Krishna, so that Tesham Satate Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti, doing the bhajan with some affection, Purvikam, Dadami Buddha, give me, he's saying here, give me the understanding how I can complete this. Jayati Namananda Rupam Marari Vidamata Nijadharma Dhyana Pujari Yatnam Katam Api Sakrit Atam Muktitam Praninam Yat Paramamamritam Ekam Jivanam Bhushanam Me. So Jayati Namananda Rupam, this Ananda Rupam, this form of joy, Vidamata, it makes one give up all other types of tasks. Nadanam, the janam, material, nadanam, the janam, the sundara, but also other spiritual paths, like vimata nija dharma, dhyana, puja, adi, ritual, etc., the endeavors. Because he easily, when you take shelter of the holy name, you easily receive the benefits of all other processes. Vasudeve, Bhagavati, Bhakti Yoga, Priyojata, Janiyat Yasu, Vairagyam, Jnanachiyat Hoitakam. With a little effort. And you can see that. You can see that if you sincerely take the bhakti. trying to untangle the mind independently of mercy is so difficult. Yes, we have some psychological problems. We can have counselors and these things, but that's just a little effort we need in Jnana and Vairagya, the little effort, so we can focus our mind on Krishna, because to really entangle us from the material world, it's only going to come by the power of God and not by our own effort. So Vasudeva Bhagavati, worshiping Krishna, son of Vasudeva, Vasudeva Bhagavati, Bhakti Yoga Priyojita, Janiyat Yasu Asu Vairagam. Just a little vairagyam. Jnana. Automatically you get these things. Automatically you get these other things. So he's glorifying the holy name because you easily receive the benefit of all other activities. Aho bataswapa chato gariyan yajiva gre vartate nama tubhyam. Oh, how wonderful it is. It's chanting Jiva Gray on the tip of the tongue, one name. Even born in a family of dog eaters, such persons are worshipful. Person who chant the holy name of your lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifice and achieved all good fortune of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your lordship, they must have bathed at the holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything else required. Devotion in the form of kirtan. What is it? Devotion in the form of kirtan. Devotion in the form of kirtan is anyway.
Unlimitedly merciful.
Unlimitedly merciful. Wow. And Akashvani. Devotion in the form of kirtan is unlimitedly merciful to those who are devoid of false prestige. Anyway, you easily receive the benefit of other activities. We'll do one more verse because then on Sunday we can start the story itself. And I'll just read the commentary. That's somehow or other. The flow is not as turned on as usual. And the reason is because it's not up to me, it's up to Krishna. And as soon as you think it's yourself, then punah mushika bhava, then again a mouse. Nama Sri Krishna Chandraya Nirapati Kripa Krite Yasri Chaitanya Rupo Bhut Tanva Prema Rasam Kalo. I bow down to Krishna Chandra, the bestower of unconditional mercy. In the modern age, he has appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to distribute the taste of pure love. So that's such a nice conclusion. The bestower of Nirapati Kripa. You see, so many things that I know are not coming. Nirapati Karunena, Sri Satchinandanena, Nirapati Karunena, Sri Satchin, Nirapati, unlimited, Nirapati Karunena, the mercy. Nirapati Karunena, Sri Satchinandanena, Tvayeti Kapati, Tvatya, Iti Kalamama Yoga, Yoga Tamam, mercy, not considering. Raghunath Das Goswami says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nirapadika, is so merciful. not considering whether I'm qualified or unqualified. He has given you to me. You got to Govardhana Shila. Nirapati Kṛṣṇena. Even though I am a cheater, Nirapati Kṛṣṇena, si Sachinandanena, Tvayati kapati, cheater, even though I'm a cheater and a criminal, by his unbounded mercy, he has given him to me. So here, the bestower of Nirapati Kripa, Krite, Krishna, the bestower of unconditional mercy. Ya Sri Chaitanya Rupa, in the form of Bhut, has appeared, Tanvan, distributing Prema Rasa, Kalo. In this modern age, he's distributed this Prema Rasa. I bow down to Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Commentary: to conclude the Mangalacharana invocation, Srila Sanatana offers respects to his worshipful deity, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the first spiritual master of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Lord Chaitanya dispenses his causeless mercy to all living entities, whether they deserve it or not. He distributes the taste of rasa, intimate emotional exchanges between God and his devotees, the rarest comedy of the spiritual world. Very few people in the material realm know what rasa is. Among the varieties of rasas in the spiritual world, the rasa found at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most precious and exquisite. It should therefore be extremely difficult for anyone in the modern world to obtain. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being supremely compassionate, gives away this rasa to unappreciative, reluctant, conditioned souls. Intentional, intelligent, and fortunate persons will accept his mercy, voluntarily serving his Sankirtan mission. It's amazing. I have no idea why, but everything that I remember, what is that? What is that verse predicting? Krishna varnam tvasha Krishnam sango pangasta parshadam yagyai sankirtanai prayer yajantihi sumedasaha. Those who are intelligent. Krishna varnam tvasha Krishnam. Krishna varnam tvasha Krishnam. He has the varnam, the qualities of Krishna, Krishna Varnyati. He is speaking about Krishna. Krishna Varnam Tvasha Krishna, but his complexion is not Krishna. Krishna Varnam Tvasha Krishna, Sango Pangasta Parshadam. He's coming with his associates. Yagyai Sankirtanai, pray, to give the holy name. Yajantihi, those who are intelligent. So he's bowing down because it's really unconditional mercy. And that's the way we have to feel. We all know our lack of qualification when we sit down to chant the holy name. And we are so poor at controlling our minds. All through the day, we could look at our minds where it says, do this, but it's not really what we should be doing. So we're not very elevated. But devotion in the form of kirtan is unlimitedly merciful to those who are devoid of false prestige. If we somehow have the right desire and we somehow have the right humility, we can attract Krishna's mercy. I once asked Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta Swami, he was actually kicked out of the country because he was preaching between Pakistan and India, and there was tension between the countries, and he had to leave the country. And he went to Vrindavan 2 days before he had to leave, and we went to the Goshen. We had a feast with Nandana, who used to be at the Brooklyn Temple. I used to be in Vrindavan, first of all. And after the feast, he just started telling me with his incredible memory, details of Prabhupada's pastimes. And finally, and the personal association with Prabhupada, and I just was overwhelmed. And I asked him, how did you get so much mercy? And he very methodically and sweetly said, I'm just a mercy case. There's something so beautiful of acknowledging one's faults and in a very humble way. It's so attractive. It so much invokes compassion. Patita pavana hetu tava avatar. The cause, hetu, patita pavana hetu tava avatar. This avatar, hetu, the cause of their coming was patita pavana, to deliver the most fallen. And Sanatana Goswami, even though he was so learned, we can't imagine his level of learning, of realization and knowledge and competence. The Nawab Hussain Shah was so dependent on him. We can't imagine it. When he came before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, I don't know who I am. I don't know where I've come from. I don't know where I'm going. He came in such a humble mood. Dira jana priyo priyakaro nirmatsaro pujito. Nirmatsara. He had no envy. He had no hate. He had no desire to be superior and to control. And he had no abhiman or self-conception of that. So this is Sanatana Goswami. And he's just there, it sets the example for us. He's just begging for mercy. Begging for mercy is the process of devotion. The holy name is begging for the holy name. He's begging to write this book. And he begins with prayers. And he ends with prayers to his worshipable Lord and spiritual master. The unbounded mercy of Sri Krishna Chandra, who appeared in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, that was a little bit difficult class. Not difficult, but just interesting to watch. Okay, Juanaja, if you're still there, if you've extracted anything from the class you could share.
Yes, Raj. Thank you so much. That last bit was really the begging. That's, the question always in my mind comes like, how do you get that humble? You want to be that humble. How do you get that humble is always the thing that goes in my mind. But the point I really liked from the class a lot was the idea that moksha says, use me. Use me to find bhakti, not stay there with me. And I love the way you put that today, that moksha is like, my dharma isn't for you to stay here. My dharma is to be a springboard for you to go on. I don't even want liberation. So that was such a nice personalization of moksha. I always thought it was like, moksha. But then way you explained it, I saw as a person saying, let me do my service, which is to get you onto bhakti. So I really like that.
Right. It's not,
explanation.
it's bahunam janmanam ante gyanavam prapajyate vasudeva savam samahatma a mahatma bahunam janmanam ante gyanavam prapajyate. After many, many years, they realized that Krishna is everything. That's what a Mahatma is. So bahunam, many, many years. Bahunam janmanam ante, unlimited years. Bahunam janmanam ante, gyanavan mam papadyate. One who has that gyan, they surrender to Krishna. Bahunam janmanam ante, gyanavan mam papadyate. Vasudeva savamiti, realizing that really it's Krishna that's everything. Samahatma Sadulabha. That type of Mahatma is very, very rare. Okay, thank you, Jamuna Jaya.
Thanks, Raj. Well,
okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I have a few things, but when Jamuna Jaya just asked, how to get that humility, I felt like the last thing you said kind of answered that question. All you have to do is think about all the things that you want to do, but your mind is telling you to do something else, something like that.
That's very humbling.
Yeah. Also, in the very last part of the Mangalacharna, when you read, it says something about the rarest comedy.
Not comedy, commodity.
Oh, commodity. Okay, great.
Wait.
Uh-huh.
Let me find it. So I don't know where that is.
Oh, no,
anyway.
that's okay, Maharaja, because I wanted to ask.
Oh, yeah, no. Wait. He distributes the taste of rasa, intimate emotional exchanges between God and his devotee, the rarest commodity of the spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
Not the rarest comedy. I don't know if I said that or you didn't hear me properly. Yeah.
No, I probably didn't hear you properly. And, you do have a thing for comedy, so I was trying to see if there was a connection. But anyway, you were saying that liberation, it abandons everybody, of course, but the devotees. But what about the jnana yogis who do attain perfection in their path? It doesn't seem like liberation.
They can't achieve perfection without worship.
Oh, that's what that means?
They can't attend. No process is independent of bhakti. It's impossible.
Okay, I thought that's what that meant. But the last thing, Maharaj, is, can you just repeat what the connection is between mercy, ritual, and worship?
Well, real ritual means to do things to conform yourself to something higher than yourself. So it's putting yourself in an activity to bring your consciousness into that activity, which is there's something higher than myself. So that's what ritual does, because ritual is basically doing things to acknowledge something supreme.
Okay, and I guess that would be synonymous with worship.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, a few people say hello.
Hare Krishna Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here. So great to hear from you.
Haribo, Tota.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. This is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much for the class. I also loved very much the great value of praying, that it invokes mercy and gives capacity to accept this mercy. So it's
right. That's my own saying and realization. Thank you.
Thank you.
Krishna-katha. Okay, Haribo. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. This is Nityangi Devidasi.
Nityangi, Haribo.
Haribol Maharaj.
Good to hear
I'm
from
so
you.
appreciate I can participate in your classes again. Thank you so much for your class.
It's so nice to have you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Right.
Haribol.
Anybody
Hey,
else?
Maharaj, thanks for a good reminder of the sequence of devotional service. It was very useful.
Oh, great. Great to hear from you, Brahmatirtha. Thank you. Oh, there you are. Great to see you.
Yeah, I'm outside.
I'm in your Janmastan. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, is Gopikābhir. Thank you for class.
Gopikābhir, you got my letter?
No, Maharaj, I haven't.
I have sent it to you.
I will look for
I'll
it
send
again.
it again, but I sent it immediately.
Oh, Maharaj. Okay, I will see.
I didn't
haven't-
hear back from you, so I was wondering.
Maybe, please. Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Namaste here. Thank you for
Haribo, Jai.
Hare-
Great.
Thank you.
Nice to hear from you. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Srila Dhanurdhara here.
You are in
Thanks for the
Tehran now,
class.
or
Yes, Maharaj.
Where are
Yes,
you?
I'm in Tehran. I'm in Tehran in our apartment. Yeah.
Studying English?
Yes, still.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna
Hare
Maharaj,
Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Yavat Sundari, and
Okay.
Hare-
Wonderful to see both of you. Haribo.
Thank you
Hare
very much
Bol,
for your
thank you.
class. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Okay. Haribo. Great. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Slow Govinda. Thank you for class.
Hey, Lal.
Hey, Hari Bol.
Nice kitchery yesterday.
Thank you. I'm glad they enjoyed it.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. This is
No,
Sanga.
Amala. Haribo.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Okay. Vanchakalpa to Krishna.